Well, good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for having us here. My name is Lou McMahon. I'm working with a group of folks who for 2 years have been doing very detailed analysis, trying to realize the vision that the Commissioners have put forward of regionalizing some of our sewer assets and optimizing what we have in this county to support economic development. And I'm very pleased to be here because this starts the very public portion of our efforts, where we introduce a resolution, you introduce a resolution to make Lorain County a petitioner to create the new district. So the presentation I have is an overview of what the public can see. There's, as I said, a very public process that's going to continue with lots of opportunity for comment. We want public comment. There ultimately is a public hearing and then ultimately action in front of the court. So though we've been working on this for quite a while, we know it's new to a lot of people, and we want to be as transparent and open as we can be so people can see why this is necessary and beneficial to the people affected here in Lorain County. So just, I'll do my best to be done in 15 minutes, even though I've got 20 slides.
Okay. It's like, for a question, is the microphone, are we picking it up? Okay,
Okay, very good.
very good.
I'll stand closer. So this is the overview of what we'll talk about today. What is a regional sewer district under Ohio Revised Code 6119? What we're going to call CLERWTR, what will it look like? Why is it necessary, and what benefits it provides, and then what are the public processes going forward? And that, in fact, that it's financially viable. So what is a Revised Code 6119 regional sewer district? I often say it's a specific purpose government, kind of like a school board for sewers in this case, if you will. That its function is to be devoted to just, in our case, sewer and treatment on a regional basis for wastewater. A 6119 can either be a water district, it can be a sewer district, it can be both. This one is only going to be treating wastewater on a regional basis at the Avon, what's now the Avon Lake treatment plant, and only do regional conveyance. It's going to be a wholesale entity. It will not be in the retail or local sewer business. It won't connect. It's not the sewers that connect the houses. It's the sewers that are collected and then sent to the plant for treatment. The statutory process that you have to go through is exacting because you're creating a new government with a specific purpose. So we have spent the 2 years getting ready to prove to ourselves and to all the petitioners and then to the public and ultimately the court that this is necessary and it's financially viable to achieve the purposes for which it's set up. So we have to create a petition that will go to the court and a plan of operation to support that. We've created those. Those drafts will be available for public review and public comment, if not today, this week. Be out there, and they'll stay out there until we file with court. As petitioners, the petitioners have to hold a public hearing with 2 weeks' notice and receive comment. Once we receive comment, we can file the petition if we have to update it or change it or anything. And then ultimately, the court has a hearing to establish the district. That's the process we go through to create one. What we're proposing is to create the Central Lake Erie Regional Water Reclamation District, or CLERWTR, easy to say, to be created by you, the Board of County Commissioners, Avon Lake, as well as LORCO. And those are the three partners that have come together to put this entity together and, again, solve a lot of issues and optimize their sewer infrastructure. This is long-time efforts. Efforts really go back to 2009 here in Lorain County, where people came together and looked at optimizing their sewer and their wastewater infrastructure through regionalization efforts, all the way through 2012, a study that was funded with some federal assistance that looked at the economic benefits of doing so. And those were some good ideas. It was kind of a good start. It stalled at that point. Almost exactly 2 years ago, on August 30th, 2023, there was a meeting at Lorain County Community College that invited all the sewer providers from across the county to come and see if we could restart that effort, to consider scenarios that could go from a good idea to an actually specific entity that could be approved and function. These pictures are from that meeting. Like, all the sewer providers were provided. I think there were 60 people there. The picture in the center is a gentleman from Ohio EPA who does the financial work for Ohio EPA. Ohio EPA was very much a supporter then and remains a supporter of regionalization because they know there are benefits from economies of scale, resiliency from having a regional sewer district. Just want to be very clear, commissioners have had a consistent vision of going forward with trying to get infrastructure in place where it could support economic development, particularly in the areas where local entities are willing to do so. There have been a lot of scenarios going on, but you've got some great triumphs here, some good steps forward. The state of Ohio with the All Ohio Future Fund recognized that the future for Ohio is in Lorain County and awarded $67.4 million for the work on the west side. That's an outstanding development for the county. Separate from that, though, is this establishing of CLERWTR on the east side. Because CLERWTR doesn't exist, it wasn't in position to play a role with the west side efforts. So these are parallel to realize your vision, but they're legally separate. They're going to go in parallel tracks. What will CLERWTR look like? So the proposal is to have a 3-member board of trustees who will be responsible for this government. The initial members will be the county administrator, the executive director of LORCO, and the chief of utilities at Avon Lake in 2-, 3-, and 4-year terms. They'll be staggered. At the end of those initial terms, each of those entities will appoint a trustee for a 4-year term. So it'll be rolling different terms they have there. CLERWTR will have a chief executive officer to help operate and basically to send out the bills to the 3 wholesale customers who will in fact be Avon Lake, LORCO, and Lorain County. The territory, you have to describe a territory in order to establish one of these. The territory is going to be of the members. It's going to include Avon Lake and its municipal boundaries, and it's going to include the area that is designated as the LORCO, the Avon Lake LORCO Phase 1 facilities planning area. This is the area that LORCO already serves. Lorain County has a small package plant at Eaton Estates that's part of this equation that's within the same footprint of the LORCO area. So this is going to be the territory. When we look at the financial viability, we looked at all the people who send and parcels that send flow to the Avon Lake plant, and that includes all the areas in green there. These are all customers or people that can be served by the Avon Lake plant today and who basically pay rates for sewer treatment there. CLERWTR will lease the Avon Lake plant and then contract with Avon Lake to operate that plant. So it'll be seamless, kind of a turnkey operation. There'll be nobody at Avon Lake will lose a job because of the establishment of CLERWTR, but CLERWTR will take over that. It'll also take on the debt associated with that plant, as well as CLERWTR will purchase the assets that LORCO has for its transmission lines and its pump station and take on that debt. So after all this process and 2 years of looking at many different scenarios and good ideas, we've come to something that's very clearly defined in CLERWTR. So CLERWTR will treat regional wastewater flow that goes to the facility at Avon Lake. It'll be responsible for that regional conveyance to get that flow there. It's going to maintain uniform treatment rates within that district. So that's one of the keys is low-cost treatment rates. You'll also be in the empowered to do regional master planning for infrastructure, and then also eventually to construct perhaps and expand regional assets to serve other parts of the county. Importantly, what CLERWTR will not do. CLERWTR will not be involved with drinking water. CLERWTR will not be in the retail business of sewer collection. Everybody who gets a bill today will continue to get a bill from that service provider. Just the treatment costs will be done by CLERWTR. CLERWTR will not be responsible for any stormwater management. Now those things, those water and stormwater are within the 6119, but for CLERWTR ever to do anything with respect to those, it would have to go back to the court to get specific approval to do those, to operate in those areas. Clearwater is necessary and beneficial. These are things we have to show the court. Why is it necessary? Well, it'll provide the centralized treatment for water reclamation and reduce a package plant that Lorain County has right now that's underperforming and facing a lot of expensive upgrades that can't be done for a small package plant. So it'll optimize the use of existing infrastructure. It'll provide low-cost, uniform treatment rates for everybody within a district. This will be one district right here. And be greater efficiency in managing both regulatory compliance and sewer-associated debt. The benefits flow from that necessity. The benefits, lowest cost that wastewater treatment that it can achieve, and maintaining that, optimizing and getting rid of redundant assets. It's going to improve water quality because the Avon Lake plant operates so efficiently. It'll take offline a package plant that is not as efficient and discharges to a creek. It'll also put the entity in position to handle stricter environmental regulations that are coming. We know that nutrients and PFAS and other things are coming, and the only way to cost effectively deal with those is to leverage the economies of scale at centralized plants. We've also spent a lot of time determining at the district if it's financially viable. We had to prove that to ourselves and to everybody, ultimately to the court. And so Raftellus, who's a nationally recognized rate and utility firm, has done a study, did a model. We took the budgets that Avon Lake has had in their process, put them into the model to see if Clearwater on its own could stand up on that, and Clearwater will be financially viable. We made conservative assumptions to protect everybody. We didn't account for pending growth that we know it's out there. We only accounted for average years of flow, which comes back into revenue. So we made those assessments, and Clearwater will not raise rates for any users on the treatment side of things other than what Avon Lake was projecting to raise rates over those years. So Clearwater will be financially viable. It becomes very public soon, and we encourage as much public participation as possible. So here's the process that I mentioned again. You gotta create the petition and plan of operation. We have those. You have to act to declare yourself a petitioner by resolution, and we look for Avon Lake to do the same thing. Those two entities together have to have at least one public meeting with 2 weeks' notice. And then you have to ultimately file the signed petition with the court. And it leads to the court process, which has a final hearing. Public participation is the key. We really want to have a lot of feedback here. The documents are going to be posted on, even though Clearwater doesn't exist, we have a domain name for it and emails so we can receive comments. There will be, as you know, all the documents that are going to be out there will be the draft petition, everything that's going to be in court, the draft petition, the plan of operation, financial feasibility study, all available to the public. There's also going to be a background document, and as well as responses to what we expect will be frequently asked questions. Try to get out ahead of those, and we will update that as if people have questions that they turn in to us. In summary, Clearwater is necessary and beneficial to realize the vision that you've had of having infrastructure in place to support the county and the region. It will optimize existing infrastructure and be efficient going forward in the future. It will, in the very near term, improve water quality. It's going to maintain the lower cost treatments, and that by itself supports economic development. And again, this effort's consistent with the West Side efforts, but it's legally separate. That's the end of my presentation. Glad to take any questions.
Commissioners?
What's next?
What's next is you will have the resolution introduced, I believe. I don't know if they're doing that right now. They've
This
done it
Friday?
already.
Says
Oh,
here.
on Friday, okay, so then
Scheduled
Friday, again on Friday, at the Friday meeting, I believe you'll be considering whether to adopt that. That formally just makes you a petitioner.
Right.
And then the public process will continue. Your partners will continue to do the same thing. Sometime in probably mid-October, we'll have that public meeting. We'll take those comments. Sometime after we review those comments, hopefully in early November, we will probably file with the court. And then we'll be on the court's calendar after that.
So did I understand you correctly? We need to schedule a hearing ourselves?
It doesn't have to, it can be a joint hearing. In fact, it should be a joint hearing between you and the other petitioner, which will be Avon Lake. And we've talked about having it at the community college. You know, if there's interest in other hearings or sessions and information sessions, we're glad to do those as well.
Oh, I see him grabbing the mic, so. Have you talked to Avon Lake and what their time?
Avon Lake, we made a presentation last night, of which our partners were there, including Karen. And they have to act too, just like the county commissioners. And we have not made a time with the college at this point, and because we have to have both of the entities joining in on this process in order to have the next public meeting when you have it at the college. So we don't have a date set up with the Lorain Community College.
Is there a date with Avon Lake, though?
There is not at this point.
What?
We expect it to be introduced at Avon Lake on Tuesday during sessions of council on Tuesday, and they have a process with their 3 readings.
They have to do, so it's 3 weeks, or do they meet every 2, or?
We're still figuring out, they're still figuring out that schedule. That schedule's
Oh.
on their timeline.
Okay.
But it would be appropriate now, we're ready for us to deal with a resolution on Friday.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Is there a time frame between the resolution? Is there a window that we have to complete this by?
There is not. You just have to
Okay.
give 2 weeks' notice. So once you
Okay.
declare yourself a petitioner and your partner petitioner, once you're in place, then we can set a time and just give 2 weeks' notice. That's all
Now,
that's happened.
would the public hearing be a more appropriate place for the public to attend to find out any more information
Absolutely.
in regards to the
Encourage as many-
future? Because I know there's people here, thought maybe there'd be some of that here, so.
Yeah, I mean, we have this, and there'll be information on the website. Again, we'll do whatever information sessions people want. It's tended to be as transparent and engaging as possible.
As you discuss that, remember that the Stocker Center is going to be shut down for major renovations, so we may need to provide ourselves as an alternative site for that meeting, for that hearing.
Well, certainly, if the college does not have the Stocker Center open, we will make alternative, and we'll allow for, I don't know how many the Stocker Center sits, but we'll have a large enough place in order to do so. And not sure exactly where that would be at this point.
Okay?
Well, we want to make sure we have the electronic or the ability for PowerPoint, correct? Yeah,
Absolutely,
so.
absolutely. And we'll have handouts and other information.
Okay.
It's basically consolidating services, correct?
I mean, that's it, yes, in an entity that is devoted solely to that, correct.
And then the 6119 is totally separate from that, or I'm sorry, the $67 million grant is a separate project.
It is. I mean, obviously CLERWTR didn't exist, so it couldn't be partake in receiving that. Basically, you got ahead of the future and got a major win for Lorain County on that.
Yeah, we try to do that.
Potentially more people to join the 6119, or more sewage districts.
And that'll be up to any expansion. The statute allows the 6119 to either expand by adding communities or just by contract to serve them. And that ultimately would be up to that new board. Does it make sense? Are there efficiencies there to do that? So it's a good model. Like I said, we went through a lot of different scenarios. This is the one that crystallized into something that was defensible and financially viable. And all those decisions on whether it's beneficial and financially viable will be made going forward.
Great.
But just the board, what we're looking to form here or discuss is just the first board to create, correct?
Yeah, what is listed there is just the first board. Thereafter, the commissioners, say after 2 years, the commissioners can appoint or reappoint whoever they want for a 4-year term. But what we set up is to have the people who understood it the best to be there at the beginning.
Correct.
Thanks for all your hard work.
All right, thank you.
And congratulations to the staff. If my math is correct, this was almost a 16-year-old can that's been kicked down the road, and we're finally, please keep the momentum up.